Greetings, everyone. This is Spot, and we're doing a little first glance real quick. This is Hacknet by Surprise Attack Games Studios, whatever. Surprise Attack. That's the important part. You can remember that part. There you go. Actually, they're the publishers. I apologize. The developer is Team Fractal Alligator, which might be one of the cooler game developer names I've heard in a long time. Hacknet, surprise, is a hacking simulator. I think I feel weird saying that. It is a hacking game. War Thunder is a flying game, but it's not really a aircraft simulator, right? This is not a hacking simulator. That would be boring. An actual hacking simulator would probably be boring. Think of this as the Mr. Robot level of hacking, right? Not ridiculously, oh my god, it's all UI and fancy graphics, but not like hardcore. And again, if it was hardcore, it would probably be boring. All right, so I'm going to skip all the tutorials and stuff real quick. We're going to try to make this quick because not that the game doesn't deserve more, it just doesn't need more. And I'll point out, as you can hear right now, one of the coolest things about this game, if not the coolest in my personal opinion, is the soundtrack. It's pretty nice. Now, I will say, it doesn't seem to be very expansive. There's not a whole lot of it, so if you're in the game for hours and hours, which you actually might be, it can get a little repetitive, but it's still good. It took me hours and hours, like 3 hours, for it to actually start being like, that's actually quite repetitive. But, so that's actually a pretty good amount of time. All right. So here's the deal. We're gonna go through this quickly. Let's, you're pretty much a hacker, and in the beginning, you get this email from this guy named Bit, and he's supposedly dead. And I don't say supposedly because he's not really, I'm just saying supposedly because I don't know for sure. And he's a, someone that died, and he hadn't logged in a long time, or a certain amount of time, and his system sent out an email to you for some reason. I'm not sure why. So anyway, so you're a hacker and you have a special operating system which makes hacking into systems quite easy, which is why I wouldn't call this really a simulator. And you kind of work for hacker organizations, and you take contracts, and then you those contracts always pretty much involve hacking into a system, or two or three, of differing difficulties and things. And there's the hacking is primarily broken up into two segments, which we'll look into. It's the actual hacking into the system, and then once you gain access to the system, tracking down whatever you need to track down, right? Whether it's information, you need to get information, you need to change information, you need to destroy information, something, right? So the easiest way to do this is to first just show you the actual UI here. So this is the command prompt, and this is one of the few issues that I actually have with the game, is that you can use the command prompt, and you can use like most normal Linux commands work in place of the ones that they ask you to do. Like I use ls because that's the normal Linux list command. In the tutorial they actually tell you to use something different, but you can use ls. It does work that way, and that's great. So in this case, there are directories here. You can move into these directories, right? Etc. Those are logs. Actually, we should probably toast those logs, to be honest. So yeah, and this system I already have access to. So I'm here. I'm on the command line, etc. I can access all of these directories. I can do things with them, etc. What we need to do now, though, is we actually need to find a system that we do not have access to, which unfortunately we have access to the majority of these, so none of these are actually going to work as a good example. So we're going to do that in just a moment. Over here, you'll notice that we have RAM 59 meg of 761 meg, obviously kind of a low-end machine, if you know what I mean. The thing to note is that this area here is your program space, and the actual spatial aspect of this is important, okay? And I say that because you'll notice it's 59 meg, right, is used. That 59 meg is this. So for instance, you'll notice that this is a notes module, okay? If I kill this, or just close it, it'll go away, and we now have 0 memory usage. I'm sure there's some usage for the OS, whatever. So this matters because you may want to run programs at the same time, and the amount of programs you can run in certain programs are different sizes, as you would expect. And so that's a thing, and you got to keep that in mind. All right. So that being said, usually stuff on the terminal over here can be accessible here, which is one of the things that kind of bugs me, and I wish I could kind of get rid of this display. Sometimes this display shows things that you can only access here, but that's actually rare from what I've seen. So yeah, what we're going to do here is we're actually going to go into, let's see here, is it over here? Where are we looking? We're looking. CSEC assets. CSEC is this? Oh, contractor. Okay. CSEC is one of the organizations, the hacker unit organizations that we've got in, and I don't want to actually provide any, well, mini spoilers. It's difficult to do a video like this and not provide any spoilers, but yeah. So we're going to log in here. We don't need to hack the system, although we probably could try, but that would probably be a bad thing. It would see. But for the sake of this, we're going to actually, oh, actually, I never noticed there's a user list. That's interesting. Buttworm. I had a friend that had a buttworm once. That was bad. Bit. That's interesting. This is the person, this is the name of the kind of like ghost hacker that contacted us, that disappeared, that's supposedly dead. But anyway, we're going to go into our contract listing, and these are just contracts, right? And so, remove a fabricated death row record. This is probably interesting. All right, this is a cleanup job to remove some false information a hacker planted in the death row database for reasons unknown. A false duplicated record has been added to the death row records, likely as some sort of identity theft or griefing plan. We would like this false record removed. Okay, so we're going to accept this. Yay. So we're actually going to pull out of here, which we don't actually have to do all this. We can actually just click on something else, but for the sake of this. Now, this is our email, but this right here is also gmail.com. This is actually the email server, so we can actually log in here even, which is the same thing as clicking this. Okay, so we're gonna do actually a new asset was added. What new asset was added? Theme change. Oh, that's interesting. New tool's been added to the asset server for your use. It's an X server changing utility named Theme Changer. You can find it under Theme Changer. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'll explain this in a second. I most likely know what that is. So, okay, this contract has been added by an anonymous CSEC member. Though it may be possible to discern the sponsor's identity through this contract, CSEC requests that, as always, you respect the privacy and anonymity of its members by not doing so. So the contract is the death row record for one Joseph Fellman, okay, is a clear duplication of Alva Curry's record, which is clearly the original. Delete the Joseph Fellman record from the database. Its presence there not only presents a risk to any and all real Joseph Fellman, but is also an insult to the original statement made by Mr. Curry. Correct this. All right. So, and these are things that allow us to add things. So if you'll notice, if you look down here, these are all servers, as I explained before, right? And this is an IP. And when I click this, if you look down here, we have another server. Boom, right there. Death row records database. Great. And these are the records details. Now you'll notice this is a note. So when we add this, it's actually going to open up the note module, and we're using memory. Obviously, the memory usage of this particular module is seriously inefficient, considering this is taking up 95 megs of memory. Right. Okay. Maybe that app has a really, really big footprint. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We can just close that out. It doesn't really matter. We're going to go to Death Row Records Database. Boom. Okay, here we go. So, this database exists to preserve the correct details. Okay, great. Gives us some type of racial statistics. Not some type, they actually are. Joseph Fellman. You can actually look through here. Here's Joseph Fellman. Age 32, Joseph Fellman. I pray with the help of God that you will forgive me for the pain I have caused your family. I am truly sorry. I wish I could take it back, but I just pray and ask that you forgive me. All right. You'll notice that we can't really do anything here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. And this is one of the few instances which I've found where this display actually does something other than just mirroring commands you can do here. Okay. So I'm going to go over here and we're going to do in-map, which I believe that you can use scan. No, not scan. You can use... I forget what their actual internal command is, but in-map is an actual Linux utility app. And what this is doing is this is actually looking for, it's doing a port scan more or less, and it happens to notice things like firewalls. Okay, so this particular system has a firewall, which means we have to get rid of this firewall or deactivate it before we can get access to the system. And open ports required for crack are 3. So we have to crack 3 of these services to get in through one of these ports. All right, and we have actual applications, right? Utility type applications, which are attack programs, which are designed to take advantage of flaws in these services. All right. So now the thing is that this firewall is interesting, and it may immediately try to start backtracking us, which could cause us to have a little bit of a time issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to do analyze here. Yep, it's starting. Okay, so we're going to run analyze again. Every time we run this, you'll notice that there's more zeros. It's doing pattern matching, right? So we're going to do this again. Come on. Usually you have to do 6 of them. And actually, while we're doing this, we can be actually attacking this thing. So this is a Webster worm. It attacks the HTTP server. We can do an FTP bounce 21. And you'll notice over here, these apps are running, right? And this memory corrupt might actually be, yeah, we don't have enough memory for it. So we're going to run another analyze. Now we have 6. You'll notice there's zeros, and all you have to do is look for the letters in here. But we can probably run this memory corrupt now. Okay, right. So now we can do, I believe we can do solve, and we're going to do A, H, S, U, N, Y. Is that right? Am I missing any? A. Insania? Saalfeld. Crap. What is it? I'm missing something. A, H, S, U. That is an N, right? N, Y. Oh, A, G. Okay, it's solved. Now we're going to do a port hack, and we can use any of these. So we'll just use the web server. And if you look at this stuff, you'll notice this is why I don't really call this a simulation, right? Okay, so now we're gonna go. We're gonna do a disconnect here because we should have access to the system now. We're gonna do a disconnect, which is going to kill the trace, and we should be able to reconnect to it now, right? So we're gonna do nmap again. Did we get access? We might have got access. I'm not sure. No. Okay. So we have to do it all in one go. That's one of the things. Some of the machines you can get access to, and it'll just hold it, right? But in some cases, not. So what we need to do is we need to actually start this entire thing where we do the web server worm, FTP bounce 21. Okay. Let that run. We're going to do analyze. 2, 3. Actually, I don't know if it actually stays the same. It looks like it actually stays the same. So we might be able to just do this. There. And then, did that work? Okay, it did. 1, 4, 3, 3. We're going to do that. And then we're going to do port hack 80. We can't do that until we get this last service done. Come on. There you go. Thank you. Now we're going to run this, and we got to go in and find this Joseph Feldman. There we go. Boom. So the question is, real quick, will it let us do it here? It will not. Okay, so we need to look here. Okay, doctor database. Records. Feldman. So we might be able to remove Feldman. Feldman. There we go. And I believe that's it. So now we need to go back here, and there's a log directory, and this is all the stuff that we've done here. We're going to remove these. And all the servers in this entire game have extremely slow hard drives. And we know this because it takes this long to delete logs. So we're going to delete all those, and then we're going to disconnect. Boom. Now we're disconnected. Now, that should be it, right? So I'm going to go back up here to my email, which just connects me here. Just makes it easier. I believe we can just do, we were just, let's see here. They just wanted us to delete it, right? Yeah, so now we just should do a reply. Yeah, and contract successful. Now, blah, 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 blah. Now, it says your current ranking is 80 of 100. You want this to be lower, and as you do more contracts for an organization, you will get down to 1 eventually. For example, this is the second organization I've been with. The first one I got down to 1, and they're like, "You're just too good to be with us. Oh my God, thank you very much." And then I got invited to this one. Okay. This actually points out something. One of the things that I think is missing from this game. I'll say first, this game can be very addictive. I sat down to play this game for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and it really had me in a, just one more contract type situation, which is a really good sign. This stuff does get repetitive because like what you just saw me do, that's pretty much it. I mean, sometimes there's more services, sometimes there's a proxy, which I didn't get to show you. And it's interesting, you can actually put shell programs on servers you already have access to, and then you can control them. There's little controls over here. You can control them, so when you're hacking into a server, if there's a proxy, you can use them to overload the proxy. So it's almost like using like a denial of service attack from multiple servers to beat down a proxy and overload it. And it's pretty much the same thing we did to the firewall. You just do it in a different method, right? And other than that, that's pretty much it. And then once you get inside, the directory structure is usually exactly this. It's home, log, bin, sys, all the time, period. And then sometimes there's an extra one which has to do with something special about that thing. And you always have to delete your logs before you leave, or you're going to have problems later, possibly, right? A trace might just start on you out of nowhere because you forgot to delete logs somewhere, right? I probably have logs laying around here, but I've never had that happen. I can delete this and delete this, yay. Okay. The only thing, and like I said, I have about 3 hours of gameplay under my belt, and the thing that bugs me is that it doesn't seem like there's much more to the game than this. Now, that's not necessarily bad, but what bugs me is that this used RAM here and this space implies that I could do something to upgrade this. And I've seen nothing like that. You'll notice that from these contracts, we don't get any money. It's just a ranking. It's like, you're doing better. You're 80 out of 100. So there's 20 people that aren't as good as you. And as you do contracts, I guess your rep goes up, right? But it would be really nice if we could upgrade hardware, right? This game seems to be somewhat of influenced, at least, by like games like Uplink from Introversion. And one of the great things about those is that you can your rig actually matters. So the hardware you're using makes your rig more difficult to penetrate from the outside. It makes you able to do things faster, etc. And that may be in this game, but after 3 hours, I have not had a whiff of it at all. Period. Nothing. So no one's mentioned it. No one said anything. But that aside, the game is actually fun. I mean, it really is. It's I could probably easily sit down here and have another 3 hours of gameplay just fine, right? Which would be probably 6 to 6.5 in all. It's currently on Steam. It's not in early access, but they are patching it. I know that I got my press key for this like 3 days ago or something, and in that time they've patched it, I think at least twice, maybe 3 times. Obviously they just launched not too long ago. I think it was on the 12th of August this month. So they've been doing like bug patches, because obviously whenever you do a launch, you get a lot bigger amount of people, and so more bugs are found. But I don't know if they're intent on doing more feature additions. That would be nice, especially stuff like this. I would love to see an entire, like, if there was a whole thing where you had a whole set of hardware, like your network cards and all that stuff. That would be awesome, and it would just add an entire another dimension to this game. But again, it's $9.99. That's not on sale. It's $9.99. So, and the music is amazing. In fact, I think one of the artists on the soundtrack is one of the artists that did stuff for Hotline Miami, which makes sense. The stuff. I love the soundtrack. And that's really about it. I mean, it's fun. It is. If you like stuff like this, it's definitely worth your time, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun with it. And I would say that you could expect easily, between 5 and 10 to 15 hours of actual like gameplay. And you know what it is? It's one of those things. It's one of those games where you may play for 2 or 3 hours and go, I'm kind of done with this now. But the next day or the next week, you may pop in and go, I should play Hacknet for, 30 minutes or so, and then you find yourself in there for 2 hours again. It's something you can come back to because the type of gameplay is quite unique. It's just, it gets a bit repetitive, so you can't do it for a massive amount of time in one session, but it does have replayability as that's concerned. And there is the story. You're trying to find out what happened a bit and track this storyline, which I haven't gotten far enough into. As far as like total gameplay, like actual built gameplay time as content, I have no idea. Like I said, this is the net map of servers. This is about 3 hours for the gameplay. If your server discovery is about the same as the first 3 hours in the second set of 3 hours, so when you were 6 hours in, if it's twice this populated, that's pretty full. So I'm thinking based on that, you're looking between 6 to 10 hours worth of content, maybe? I don't know. So I haven't played it all the way to the end, which is why this is not a review, it's just a first glance. So that's really about it. The game is Hacknet. It's built by Team Fractal Alligator, again, great name, and published by Surprise Attack. You can get it on Steam, which you can click on the link in the description. So I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
We're going for the moon.
Hey there, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. If you'd like to see more, just click subscribe. Come say hi to me on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, any of those. I hope to see you next time.